What was it about her that captivated him so? She certainly had a mysterious quality to her. She was exotic, articulate, and James suspected she was considerably more intelligent than he was. Post-coital talk had revealed a well-educated, well-travelled lady was in his presence, but perhaps a world-weary one. Mia was kind and understanding, though James had only had 5 sessions with her. He was already baring his soul, singing like a bird, whatever you want to call it. He had let his guard down. They had met only 2 months previously. The first time they met, he was nervous as hell. He had done plenty of searching, of his feelings, that is. James felt no shame in what he was doing. He was not ashamed of his tendencies. His attitude was a mature and healthy one. He was attracted to trans women. Why this was so, he didn't really understand, although he did speculate quite frequently. He also saw no problem with paying for the act of sex. There was nothing seedy or dirty about it in his mind. It was like going out to a fancy restaurant for a nice meal. It was about treating oneself every once in a while. He didn't view sex workers who chose to do what they did as victims, but his rather conservative family did not share his progressive views. His sister was quite the prude, as was his captious mother. His mother definitely wore the trousers, but his old man was no shrinking violet. He was another man who was keen to let the world know what his opinion was about this or that, and felt himself insightful and interesting. His view on the unnaturalness of homosexuality was not uncommon. He imagined he never once met a gay person in all of his 57 years. He was, of course, quite wrong. If he'd have known his son was bisexual, he would be genuinely shocked and disgusted. But James felt safe that he, nor any of his family, would find out. They lived in their safe, protected lives, removed somewhat from reality, while he lived freely, true to himself, behind closed doors, naturally. The first time he met Mia at her place, she had tried to make him feel at ease, playing the kind host. In truth, she'd been in this situation several times before, and half expected James to lose his courage and make a run for the door. But he overcame his anxiety with small talk as they made for the bedroom. He was still talking as she closed the door. Mia then gave him a look which silenced him, and she moved to him in such a way that caused his mind and body to freeze. Her face, an inch from his, she stared passionately into his eyes, and she saw much fear. This she liked very much. She kissed him slowly and softly to begin with. They undressed as they kissed. She led him over to the bed, removed his underwear, and gave his manhood a less than gentle squeeze, which caused James to feel like he might pass out or throw up. But he did neither. She removed her underwear, revealing an erect, circumcised member. They kissed again, but not tenderly as before. She forced his tongue into her mouth and groped him aggressively. Now, for the first time, he could feel her physical strength and felt as if he could actually be overpowered, which aroused him greatly. He reciprocated with some rough stuff of his own, and soon enough they were having wild, passionate sex. All his inhibitions cast aside. After it was over, they sat and talked about places they'd been, about where they came from, sharing experiences. He paid her for her time and set off for the train station filled with the joys of spring. On his next few visits he would come bearing gifts, jewellery and chocolates. Mia felt flattered, but she discouraged it and told James to stop. He was somewhat disappointed but respected her word and understood her reasons. James was cresting 40 years of age, but he looked young. He was a man who understood himself better than most did. He was well read, not particularly sociable, and had a sceptical yet generous way about him. Mia liked him more than she should. She was 10 years his junior, but intellectually his superior. She was confident without being arrogant, but there was a sadness to her that most people, especially her friends, could see. Her parents, back in Japan, had never been able to accept that their son was transgender. For them, it was an illness, a psychological disorder. Mia's sister, Akemi, was far more understanding and always treated Mia, real name Tadashi, like a younger sister. They remained close even after Mia moved to England to continue her studies. After university, Mia stayed on in Manchester, having fallen in love with the place. She couldn't find a job working in marine biology, her chosen field. Like so many trans women, she took to sex work to maintain herself. This was her profession now.